SmashFactor.
Ripping driver, going for it. Oh my goodness. How about that tee shot?
That is crazy how far that is.
Wow. John Daly, take a back seat, big fella. How about that drive?
That's an aggressive line. Man, that is beyond long.
Look at this. He's just driven the green. He has just driven the green.
I guess hello world, huh?
Welcome everybody to a special edition of the SmashFactor. We're going to do a little WGC match play preview for the week. Coming out early this week because pricing's out. Tournament starts early. I'm Michael Ruvy, your host. You can catch me on Twitter at Michael Ruvy. I'm here today with Gup. Bucks is at a conference, so it's just going to be me and Gup today. You can catch him on Twitter at I am the Gup. As always, Bucks is on Twitter as well at BPSnow11. You can catch us on all the social media outlets at Gup's Corner. Check us out all there or at gupscorner.com. As always, SmashFactor is brought to you by AmpCaddy. Go to ampcaddy.com, type in the promo code SMASH, and get $20 off your next AmpCaddy. Get it for $89.99. It's a great deal. Gup, why don't you give us a little introduction of our affiliates as well?
Yeah, good morning for some out there, probably on the West Coast. Just hit noon here. A lot of feedback in the Slack last night and this morning about this tournament format, especially people new to DFS golf. So we decided get a little preview out early, talk about format, scoring, stuff like that. And then we'll hit up tomorrow night with another show after the bracket comes out. And then Tuesday, we'll do the E9 like we always do on the website and possibly Periscope. Our affiliates right now, Fanshare Sports, fansharesports.com. Use the code GUP and get 20% off their products. Brand new site they rolled out about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Been great. It's great on the mobile now. They're introducing new tools as well as they continue to grow. A great partner of ours. Go check them out. My ownership rankings comes from some internal data, and then I use Fanshare. And then our other affiliate, FantasyNationalGolf.com. Prices increased a couple weeks ago for the first time ever, I think, for him. But if you use the code FantasyNational.com/GUP, or you can go to our affiliates website and click the link there, you'll get 20% off for being a listener of SmashFactor, which is great for Moose to offer that to our people. And so you'll get that, basically put you back to the price that it was at normally. So go check them out. I try them both out for a month right now because then you get them through the Masters, as well as, if you're not a subscriber to Gup's Corner, our promo ends Sunday night of the Masters, which it's $6.99 a month or $69.99 a year, or we have a 2-year option, one time only. Will never be offered again if you want to check it out. After that, we go to $14.99 a month and $129 a year. So now you lock these prices in for life. It's really an awesome offer to get in on. If you do the yearly, you get to in a drawing. If you do the 2-year, you get 2 entries into the drawing to join me, Bucks, and Moose at Blue Jack National Golf Course in Houston. Tiger Woods designed. Go check it out. Beautiful pictures on the website. We're going to draw someone Sunday night of the Masters, and that person is going to join us for 3 days, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday. 2 rounds of golf out there, everything paid for. And Fantasy National is actually sponsoring the travel for the winner. So, thank you to Moose, and he's going to join us there. It's going to be a great time. Can't wait to see who wins that night. Be sure to rate and review us on iTunes and YouTube and Instagram. If every time you rate and review or like YouTube, Instagram, subscribe, you get into a drawing that we're going to give away during the same Masters recap show that's now over $400 prize pack for one person. We got items from Torrey, Honda Classic, WC Match Play next week, Valero. You'll get a 1-year membership if you don't already, or a bump if you do have one. You'll get your next year free. So it's going to be a fantastic prize pack. And the last thing before I turn over to Ruvy to go over the show is we're going to do a bracket challenge for the match play. I posted it yesterday on Twitter. We'll be doing it for the next couple of days. It's free to enter. We're going to have tons of prizes to give out to the top three winners from Fanshare, Fantasy National, us. Daily Roto has also chipped in, and the guy or girl who is leading Friday night, so after the pod rounds are done, will get a prize for them as well. So we're going to go in full detail on that tomorrow night of what the prizes will be, but it's going to be awesome. It's fun, free for anybody. We're just trying to do something, a little fun with the bracket, especially if your basketball bracket's dead already. So look forward to that, and we'll have more on that tomorrow night.
Yeah, we'll call that the Keegan prize, the first round leader prize there for the Daily Roto one. Today we're going to go just a quick preview and explain everybody the way the match play works. It's not a regular tournament, so even DraftKings is going to be significantly different. So we're going to explain that to you. We're going to explain how this tournament works. So we're going to explain how the drawings are done. The drawings are done on Monday in Austin. So we don't know what the drawings are right now, but we do know what everybody is seeded. And so that can determine a little bit of how the drawings are going to be done. And we're going to explain that to you. We'll go over a quick little course preview. Gup will handle that this week since Bucks is out, but I know that Gup will do a fine job at that, of course. But and then we're going to maybe mention some bets and some one and dones that we like early, even though we don't have any odds out yet because the previous tournament hasn't finished yet. So let's just go quickly. Give us a little course preview of Austin Country Club, Gup.
Yeah, so this will be a terrible impression of Bucks, but hopefully he's having fun out there. I know he's got a big conference for us week. He will be posting his course preview early evening tonight for those that want to really get a preview. I'll be there this week. JB is going to join me. ADHD, Fantasy ADHD will join as well. We'll be there Wednesday, Thursday for sure. It's at Austin Country Club in Texas. Obviously, Austin, Texas, 7,100 yard par 71 Pete Dye track. So, your Bubba's, Siwoo Kim, maybe those kind of guys like it. I read an article last night from Rory after he played it a couple years, and really it's similar to some of the stuff we've been seeing where this is a course built to where everybody can have a chance, right? The bombers, ball strikers, short game, very intimidating off the tee, just like any Pete Dye track. Your approach shots are going to be intimidating. Even Rory kind of said that he's glad it's a match play because he thinks stroke tournament, this will be a very frustrating, difficult course at times. Here, as we'll get into the match play mentality, you kind of choose your shots dictated off of what your opponent's doing as opposed to playing. You got to play the course some, but definitely a little bit different format in the way that these guys think around the course. And if you're a golfer in your real life, you played match play, you kind of understand that. Probably going to have a little overseed. It is a Bermuda green, but I imagine at this time of year, and I'm 45 minutes south of there, I can't imagine the Bermuda's grown in fully. It is bent grass fairways right off Austin Lake. The weather so far, going to be decent winds. For Texas, it's not winds at all, but for most people that consider windy stuff, 10 miles an hour, going to be 11 to 15. It's actually turning to north winds on the weekend, which hard to really justify any of that in your building. But, a little bit of morning showers, Friday, Saturday, Sunday potential, a little cooler. It's going to get up to 83 on Friday, and then the high on Saturday and Sunday is mid-60s with lows in the high 40s with that north wind I talked about. So, betting and stuff, I can't imagine DraftKings doing showdown stuff once the full tournament's over. So, the 64 is down to 16, but if they do, we'll factor that in. I can't remember last year if they did or not. I don't think they did. But for betting purposes, it's going to play a little tougher on the weekend, a little longer. Ball won't fly as far, stuff like that. But Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, for the most part, look really great. And to me, the thing about this course, and especially being the match play format, is that because so many different options are off the tee, guys that are, if you're 2 up, 3 up, they may not be aggressive because they don't have to be. So, stats are kind of out the window per se. You have to use them to an extent. I'm really going to be focusing on historical match play a little bit, how people did. This course, the match play tournament moved over here in 2016. So we had, prior to that, it was, I believe, was it Dove Mountain, Ruvy?
Yeah, it was Dove Mountain in Tucson.
So that'll play in. Jason Day's won here. Last year was Bubba. So different guys can win here. It's going to be interesting to see. I think it's fun tournament, fun, different format for DraftKings. Last year was the first time they actually did it. So I'm kind of excited to check that out and see how people do.
Yeah, the only other thing and I think it just goes into what you said, is I'm going to look a lot at Pete Dye specialists and like you said, court or match play history. Last year the two guys in the final were two Pete Dye specialists in Kisner and Bubba. So if you would have done it last year, you would have done pretty well. I don't think I did that last year.
Yeah, and I had Bubba to win this last year, and I had him at Genesis. So that was 2 hits I had on Bubba last year.
It was 50 at both, right?
I got him at 40 is what my notes say from last year. But, Kisner was in my pool last year. So I did well here, and we'll talk about some of the strategy I used. The one thing I was telling you guys before the show that sticks out is, and it's the top 64 guys in the world, so this makes sense. But when you look at the guys that have won the match play throughout the years, even prior different courses, I mean, the elite of the elite seem to show up, and in their prime. So even when like David Toms won, he was doing really well then.
Yeah.
Tiger, Stinson, Ogilvy, Poulter, Donald, which Donald was, he's doing good this week. We'll see. If
Mahan was good in 2012. Yeah.
Correct. Exactly. Hunter, Kuchar, Day, Rory, Day, DJ, Bubba. And then you look who they played against, just as strong. Not that I don't expect, a no name or nobody coming out, but I definitely will be focusing, a lot on the elite up top, and then trying to find a few to fit in there as well, or based around the strategy that you have to use in this kind of tournament already.
Yeah, I think to your point, out of the 19 years, I think there's been one outlier, right, with Kevin Sutherland in 2002. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is.
Right.
I just could be forgetting. But, when you say it's the top 64 in the world, it is the top 64 in the world minus 2 guys that decided not to play this, Ricky Fowler and Adam Scott. So the bump up from that would be the benefactors, I guess, would be Satoshi Kodaira and Luke List, everybody's favorite Luke List. So those will round out the top 6 or the 64 players in this field. If you go to the owgr.com, if not, we have a list that I'll put together a list and put it out on our website, Gup, with everybody's rankings after the show going into the field. So the way that the drawing is going to work is there's going to be 4 pods. There's 16 pods. I apologize. 16 pods, but there's going to be 4 categories. The top 16 rated players in this field will be in the number 1 seed category. So that'll be your Dustin Johnson in order. So Dustin, Rose, Koepka, Rory, JT, DeChambeau, Molinari, Schauffele, Rahm, Fleetwood, Day, Woods, Finau, Casey, Reed, and Bubba. So those will be your top 16 guys.
Let me pause you right there just to you guys are a lot smarter than me, so I want to dumb that down a little bit. So think of March Madness as well. And so in theory, these are the top seeds, and they're 4-man pods. And so there'll be 16 4-man pods. But what will come out of these is we'll have the Sweet 16. So the winner of each of these 4-man pods will turn into – so the DJ, let's say he's pod 1 and Bubba's pod 16. If they both won their pods, they would play each other in the Sweet 16, 1 versus 16, 2 versus 15, so on and so forth.
Correct.
Yep. Right. So those 4-man pods turn in – so it's still a big 64-man bracket. When we get the bracket out, you'll see it. But that's how just to think through that. So the reason why I say that is they'll draw tomorrow, but these 16 are set. It's just a matter of where they wind up and which other 3 guys from the other 16, the other 16, the other 16 that they get in their 4-man pod. So theoretically, like Leishman is number 17, Wallace is number 33, Bignon is 49. So theoretically, you could have DJ, Leishman, Wallace on in a pod. Yeah, but you can't have DJ and Bubba in a pod. So that's how that works. They put all these guys into 16 or is it 4 buckets?
Yeah, 4 buckets. Yep,
4 buckets, and they pull them out. But that's kind of
16 people. Yep.
Right. I just wanted to so they get a visualization of how that bracket comes comes to fruition by the time we get to the end. But go ahead.
Yeah, and like you said, it's a round robin for your pod. So it's everybody will play everybody in the pod, and you get points off a win. I think it's 3 points for a win, 1 point for a tie, and 0 for a loss, if I'm correct. Or is it?
Are you talking about DraftKings or WGC?
Oh no, I apologize for the standings in the pod. I think it's either 3-1 or is it 1.5? I can look that up. But it's
go ahead.
Most points at the end of the round robin will get to advance. I will look that up though as well right now. But
go ahead. You focus on that.
Okay. Yeah. So it is going to be a drawing tomorrow night, but it's not going to be your typical. It's not the only way it's different from the NCAA tournament is one doesn't make sure to play 64.
Correct.
64 could actually be in the same pot as 16. So that's a little different because they're just drawing them out of a bucket. So, but then 1 through 16 guys determine which pod they are in. They know which pod they're in. So we can go from there. What else can you break down the DraftKings scoring for us, Gup, and how it's going to work on DraftKings? Because it is different.
Yeah. So, this week you'll have the biggest deal, which a lot of people, I think, probably learned from last year. Luckily, I don't know if I just thought of it or not, but several did is you can build dead lineups. So, what does that mean? And a lot of people built dead lineups, which is, I kind of thought they would. And so I built a system that I used and will share with the Gups Corner community this week that prevented me from building dead lineups per se. And so what that means is you don't want to, so you're going to build 6-man team still. It's still $50,000 salary, but your goal is to get all 6 of your guys in the Elite 8 if possible, right? And then have your best shot at 4 of 6. Obviously math, the most you can get in the Final Four is 4 of 6, anybody. So what you had is, I don't think some people realize, if you picked, 3 guys from the same region, if you will, if you want to use March Madness, well, you hurt your chances or limit them, because now the one guy from the other regions has to come through, and now you got 3. I mean, so, in a perfect world, you'd pick 1 from each region, and then you're going to have to pick 1 extra from 2 of the regions that you think could come through. And ideally, those, let's say we take the DJ region. I don't know what they call the regions, but, if I wanted DJ and, Matsuyama, I'm just making and they're in this, let's say they wind up in the same region, I would want to, ideally, I'm going to predict them to meet in the Elite 8 so that the winner I automatically have in the Final Four. And you're going to do that for 2 regions, in a 6-man build. And then the other 2, you're kind of, the one guy you pick really has to hit. And for me personally, it's an MME week, right? Because there's so many combinations and processes that could go out there. So last year, you guys know I rarely do 150, but I maxed the $5, which I will this year. I'll throw, I haven't looked at all the contests yet, but I'll throw a lot in the, maybe the 44 or something like that. It to me, it's just not a single build week or a 3 max week. I'll take a look at them just because I think I may still have a little bit of an edge, but it's certainly difficult to build one lineup and hope the nuts hit, as opposed to combinations, especially if you build correctly based upon those pods and the mini pods. You have to give yourself as many outs as possible. It doesn't mean like my program is going to give me all the answers or winners, and I certainly won't have that for the Gups Corner community. But what it does is it visualizes, allows me to build my player pool and then go, okay, how many do I want from this pod, this pod, this pod, this pod, and then as I build out, it doesn't allow me, or if I build where I have 3 guys in the same pod, I can see it and go, oh, I can't have that, because that really lowers myself, and it allows me to make sure I at least have 1 from each of the major 4, so I have a chance to get into the Final Four, all 4 through. And so last year, you just saw a ton of people have dead lineups. So you ran the numbers as soon as it came out, and there was a lot of people that had 0 chance of getting 4 to the Final Four, and then or very little chance because they had 3 guys in the same major region. So a lot of strategy for sure. Hopefully we get some great tools for the community. They seem excited for it. It's a little bit different format. So the scoring, there is no point scoring. So no birdies, no bogeys, none of that, no hole one. So I'll go through it real quick. It's a little long, but I think it's worth it. You get 3 points for a hole. It's for a halve. You get minus 0.75 for a hole lost. You get 1.6 points for holes not played, meaning if the match ended early, and I'll go through that in a second. You get 5 points for a match won, 2 points for a match halved, streak of 3 consecutive. This is max 1 per round, kind of like the birdie streak. It's 5 points. If you have no holes lost in a match, you get 7.5 points. And I believe we'll get into the scoring notes. I think ties don't count on that. So a guy could win all the holes, tie 3 or 4, and you still get that bonus. So here's DraftKings notes on that. A hole won is awarded for winning the hole outright or if opponent concedes the hole. A hole lost is awarded for losing the hole outright or conceding a hole. The holes not played bonus is awarded to the winning golfer in a match for all unplayed holes. Example 1, a golfer wins a match by a score of 4 and 2. He is awarded a bonus for 2 holes not played. A golfer wins a match 1 up, no bonus is played. In the event of a withdrawal, the winning golfer will receive the holes not played bonus for all remaining holes in the match, which that's kind of big, I guess. I think Dave withdrew early out here a couple of years ago. For example, if a golfer withdraws when the match is through 9, the opponent will receive a bonus 9 holes not played. All statistics earned before the withdrawal will count for both golfers. A match must go through 10 holes to be eligible for a no holes lost in match. All matches in the tournament are counted for scoring, including the consolation match. So I mentioned that earlier in the chat, but the third play match does count. That's still bonus points, or it's still more points. Beginning in the round of 16 and onwards, playoff holes will count towards scoring. So they don't do playoffs Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's just a tie. But obviously when they go to the Sweet 16 per se, it's single elimination other than there's a third play match once we get to the Final Four. So, and we're going to put out tons of content tonight and tomorrow. I'll have a deal out tonight that kind of goes through the rankings as they are now that Ruvy mentioned, this scoring that they have, just kind of all the basics of the tournament I'll put together in one document and post tonight. So that's kind of how the DraftKings work. Did you verify the scoring in the real tournament, Ruvy?
I can't find that, but I'm pretty sure it's 1 point for a win, a half point for a tie, and 0 points for a loss.
I think that's right because I remember 3-0 got 3 points.
Yep, and so the half point will get the ties.
And if there's a tie in the pod, they go to a playoff hole.
Correct.
Correct. And I think it's not aggregate. I think it's sudden death, if I remember right from last year. Right. Okay.
Right. Yep. And they'll do that on Friday.
Correct. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it sucks because, the reason why I'm going Wednesday, Thursday is because virtually everybody's still alive. Well, everybody's still alive, even if they lose on Wednesday. But by the time you get to Friday, some guys could be dead. Doesn't mean they don't play it out. I mean, they will.
If they're 0-2, though, they're dead. Yep.
Yeah. Unless, yes, I guess there's a chance you could have 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, something like that. But you get a little worrisome of someone withdrawing because if you don't have the guy that gets that luck, because if a guy withdraws Thursday night, the guy that is supposed to play him, as we just said in DraftKings, gets all those points, right? And it happened. So, when Day withdrew, it was the first round, right, Ruvy? It was the first round. So Thursday and Friday, the guys that were supposed to play him got all those points. And so you can't predict that by all means. I would pay attention to who Kevin Na matches up against in case he's
going to say that. Yeah.
Will I factor that in? Sure, I will. I imagine he's going to try to give it a go because guaranteed money. I believe he's in the Valero field already, so he's going to be down here. That's a factor for me a little bit. I mean, nothing crazy. We'll get into that as we start deep diving, and we haven't really said it, but just to, it is a Wednesday start, so we're all tight. That's one of the reasons why we did this today, to get all the basics out, talk the format and the schematics of it, so that tomorrow after the brackets come out, we can really just focus on, potential good draws in the bracket, bad draws, how the salaries factor in, stuff like that. And then Tuesday night, we'll hone in on, player draws, pods, guys potential drawing dead, stuff like that. We'll all go through that as we progress. And then we got a lock Tuesday night and get ready Wednesday morning. I'll be up early heading to Austin to meet Josh and them. So going to be fun. Ruvy, you want to just glance at potential salaries, or where do you want to go?
Yeah, we could do that. That's fine. Maybe just talk about some that stick out to us early, before seeing any pods.
So the salaries are up.
Yep.
I did a preliminary model. We'll note that there's not any stats for these because
correct.
If you're not familiar, the strokes gained metric is based off the field. And so although you'll have shot tracker at the tournament showing you where everybody's at, because guys don't finish holes, you can't get a true measurement of the strokes gained for the entire field for the entire tournament. So you can't have stats for this specific tournament. Now, it doesn't mean you can't use stats to try to predict the best player for the course. We certainly will try to do that. I caution to not get too over analytical this week, because if you're not a golfer, and I'm not a good one, but I do play in a lot of tournaments and try, with my 12 handicap, but match play mentality, your opponent will drive you so much. One of my advantages is off the tee. I can bomb it. And so on holes that I think I can get really out, especially if I'm teeing off first, I want to try to do that, because then it forces my opponent to tee off or to hit his second shot before mine, which now allows me to determine, do I have to get aggressive? Can I be, if he shanks one or, toss it in the bunker, or, is dead in the rough or something, or goes in the water or something. Well, now I just, I'm real conservative. I just got to get par and I'm good or something. And that factors in here. Now, these guys aren't worrying about all the kind of stuff we are, but it matters. And guys may be 3 or 4 up and go conservative off the tee because they just need to get a par and force their opponent to make mistakes, right? And so this is one of those, you wish you could get into the mentality of a golfer, which is hard, but the personalities come through, right? Who's guys that, nut check time, if you will, is what we use in football. And, like a Rom is a guy that I like here. I know he can blow up, but I think the match play helps him, because the bogeys and doubles doesn't hurt him as much as you're just one down, right? You got a guy like Rory, a guy like Tiger that's proven, Jason Day proven. He missed, DJ. He's a DGAF mentality, so I'm not sure I don't know if he even cares, but JT took the week off. They missed the cut. So form to me will play a lot in who's playing well, who's ball striking. We know Pete Dye, you need to be a ball striker. Garcia looked like he's making a run for me this morning, which I need badly. Last I saw, he was 3 or 4 under on the day.
I see JB shaking his head though. He might have blown up.
Oh, don't tell me that. Please don't tell me that. So guys like that, Bubba made the cut, and of course, not many thought he would do well at the Valspar, and actually is playing well. So, those kind of things kind of come in this week. And what I try to do is, once the brackets are out, I fill out 2 or 3 brackets, then kind of try to do one out of those models. What kind of guys and combinations am I continuously falling on, and that way I can get a player pool together. And then I personally try to get my player pool before I worry about the pods and all that. It's kind of a 3-4 step process, in that once I get the player pool, I'll look at my combinations of the pods and go, am I heavy or not heavy on certain regions? And I may make an adjustment. I may, call it an alternate like you would in golf. I'll have guys down below that if I'm heavy in one section, who's the next fill in? And last year I had a pretty tight core. I think I looked last night, 38 or 40 guys for my 150 build, which is still, well over half the field. But you have to make some decisions in this because of the bracket part, right? You can't just have everybody. So I think it was 60% is the number I came to last year of the field, and I kind of built from there. I have the 1 through 16 kind of highlighted like you do. So in there, the guys that just come off, Rory, I think he'll probably be popular. He's high, 11,700, but nothing to go against that he, won't show up. I think he's grown to like this course in a match play environment. He's this will be his last play before Augusta. So I think he wants to play well and end well. I definitely early like Rory. As I mentioned, I like Rom. Tiger will be in play, especially at 9,200, right?
Yes.
Yeah, extremely cheap. So I imagine extremely chalky. So that'll be interesting to kind of see where that goes. Bubba's, of course, fit here. I think he'll probably be higher owned as well, mainly, little price discount at 8,900. So those are some of the guys that pop out in the top 16. What about you, Ruvy?
I think Bryson is an interesting one to look at because he's so analytical. He can get a lot of birdies. I think that, like you said, when you mention all those players, I think of aggressive players. I know that DJ has that D-gap mentality, which he does, but he's still very aggressive. He doesn't care about using a driver on a hole that only needs a 3-wood because he feels he can get it within 80 yards and then put his little wedge and flip it back. So I think aggressive players have an advantage. Now, the interesting part about DJ and Bubba is they would play in the round of 16 if they both came out of their pod. That's where your thinking comes in when you're talking about, who am I going to pick of those two if you're going to go with one of them, because there is odds that if it's going to happen if they both win their pod, they come out of there and they play each other, and then one of them's dead before a round of 8, which you want a guy's in the Elite 8, right? So
right.
That is a interesting way to go. But I do love Rom in this format. The doubles won't kill him. He can make another mistake like he did at the 11th at TPC, and it only
a freaking 9. How the hell did Sergio get a 9? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, sorry.
No, I wasn't looking.
I had to go look when you gave me the worry, and now, Jiminy Christmas, can't wait to see the replay of that.
Is that two 9th this week then for him?
I don't know. He got a 9.
Because I think he had one on Saturday too. Someone said he hit 5 balls before someone hit a ball.
No, he had a 7 on that.
7. Okay.
Yeah, 9 on number 16. So he got snake bit. Jesus. Well, there goes probably that lineup. All right, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. You're good. I just like Rom also, but I always like Rom. So.
No, and that's the point is that, we're a little early, so it's hard to, until you see the bracket draw, because you can't,
Yep.
you don't want to short side yourself. But the point of this was just everything we kind of already said so far, and then go over a few guys just out of the box who we like. Obviously, tomorrow night we'll do another show where we'll know the draws, and since we're kind of a leg up with all this done, we can get straight into it. Tambo's going to be on, and maybe Fantasy ADHD join us in a little 4-man panel, kind of talk bracket talk, with everything we know. So it should be a fun show tomorrow night. We'll quickly review Valspar and go over good, bad, ugly. Yeah, I know my ugly of the week already.
Well, mine's just period ugly, so I haven't watched much because it's so bad this week.
I did well. I mean, I've got some heat today, but I needed Sergio, so I'm not sure how it. Cage Lee kind of killed me, but if I go Stallings over him, I'm really doing well. But my 5 of 6 was good. I got Knox and Cockrack up there, so we'll see. I don't want to get into that, but tomorrow night will be a fun show. More just bracket, salary, region talk between 3 or 4 of us. So I think you guys will enjoy it. We'll already have all these details out of the way. So that was kind of the idea there. So out of the second 16, I'll run through it real quick. It's Leishman, Cantley, Webb, Lefty, Kuchar, Woodland, Matsu, Cam Smith, Sergio, Usti, Noren, Spieth, RCB, Poulter, Bradley, and Fitzpatrick. Just off I'm a big fan of Cantley always, especially a ball striker's course. So depending on draw there, I like him. He's 8,400. Phil's interesting, but I don't know. He just kind of seems to be rejuvenated, and I think he's 8,000 or something this week.
I'll check it out.
8,000. So, and he could kind of go depending on his draw. I don't mind him in this. I mean, he's a gambler type mentality that that he loves that challenge, and so I don't know if the course sets up well for him per se, but he's kind of on the radar. I don't like Matsu in this as much. I like him in generally, but possibly won't be on Jordan this week. I did just to note his odds did drop today on Bovada. He was 25-1. So if you're one of those guys waiting on
for the Masters, yeah,
for the Masters, you can jump on that. I did release a Masters future this morning to the Slack channel, so if you want to go check that out. But Jordan never does well here, even though this is his course. He played at Austin at UT. Not a great track record in the match play setting, and I certainly don't expect that to continue or turn around this year, especially with the form coming in. What about Kuchar? You think he could grind out? I mean, he's won a match play before.
Yeah, and he's playing great this year, right? I mean, he's got some great form, and I don't see why not.
Yeah, he's 8,100, so I don't mind him. Keegan only because he can get birdies. His blow-ups aren't going to kill him as much. He's definitely a ball striker. We know that. His approach game will be strong. Putting,
you can't go full Keegan here.
Right, yeah. I mean, he could, I guess, but
it doesn't hurt you as bad.
Right. So depending on draw, he's definitely right there as well. What's 3 or 4 you like out of here?
The only ones that I like, the guys you mentioned. I like Poulter, by the way. We bring up match play. That's another guy that I believe has won before, correct?
Yes. Oh, obviously.
Yeah, in 2010.
We'll do some research on his Ryder Cup. I mean, that's kind of stuff I looked at last year with Ryder Cup and presidents. So yeah.
Poulter's an interesting, depending on the draw. I want to get back to Jordan real quick. I'm not saying I like Jordan, but you would think that this format would fit him right now because the dude gets a lot of doubles right now. He still gets a lot of birdies. I mean, I have him ranked fairly high, and birdies are better gained. I mean, but he just gets so many doubles. So, but you're right. You can't play him. He's never done well here. I guess you can if you want to be contrarian, but.
Well, I mean, I go back to the, DJ under 15% I'll take all day. In this format, if he's going to be, especially depending on his draw, 5% or so, could I get him in my build of 150? Sure. He's worth the talent to try to fit in there if he fits the pod build for me.
Yeah, I mean, if I would like to see Poulter get with, I don't know, like a Finau group. Like if Poulter gets in like a Finau group, I would really like that. I think that Poulter just intimidates people for some reason in match play. But I like Keegan again. Killed me this week, but he seems to get birdies a lot, and he's playing really well this year. He's up to 33 in the world right now, so Keegan's playing well.
Yeah, he is overall. I mean, this kind of format should benefit him.
Should. Yep, I agree. How about we can go on to the next 16 now?
Okay, yeah. So Matt Wallace, Pepperell, who played well last week, Hatton, Hao Tong Lee, Stinson, Billy Ho, the Rat, Alfie Barnrat, Grace, Kyle Stanley, Chucky Three Sticks, JB Holmes, Snedeker, Lowry, Justin Harding, Olson, and Kisner to round it out. For me, obviously, Kisner's form's coming in, playing well. He loves these kind of green setup. He's played well the last 2 weeks, playing well. I don't want to say he's playing well today. He may have a 10 and I don't know it yet, but if he's like Sergio, so I definitely don't mind him, especially, very lower price type guy. Horschel's ball striker galore. He's kind of got a little fiery attitude that I think maybe could do well. I'll have to pull in his kind of history in a match play to see how he does, but I certainly don't mind him. Stinson's, probably going to be a higher owned depending on the draw, 7,600. I like his mentality and the way he approaches, and the 3-wood here will help him stay conservative off the tee and play, most of the time. Justin Harding's an interesting one. He's popped up recently, in some tournaments, and he's like 6,200 if I remember right. So, if he fits in a good draw area, I definitely like him. Kisner and Pepperell is 6,900 and 7,000. So both those guys, all these guys are going to be kind of cheaper and really going to depend upon, this is where it's going to depend upon the draw and where you think they may get a good advantage in the Sweet 16 and on.
Yep. The only other guy I want to mention out of that group would be Chucky Three Sticks. He won his pod last year. I believe his pod had ROM in it last year, and he won that pod. I only remember that, I think, because I was heavy ROM. So Yeah, I think I like Charles Howell, depending on his pod, to be honest, where his draw comes out. Obviously, we're going to consistently say that. And so, but yeah, Charles Howell's an interesting one. And then you got the three Brits at the top of that pod, that grouping, Wallace, Pepperell, Hatton, all kind of fiery guys, to be honest, or they're kind of personalities, I guess you could say. Hatton's a different kind of fiery than Eddie Pepperell, or he just wants to drink. Wallace has been playing well. I think that those three guys could garner some popularity, though.
I like Wallace's game where he's been at. I don't think he's under the radar like he was a few weeks ago when we played him. Loved him at Honda. Hatton definitely in play. Back to kind of like Rom. You know, the big holes or the blow ups won't hurt him as much in this format. And so, you know, if he gets a good pod, for sure could be on him, 7,600. He's a little higher for this price range, but definitely don't mind that play at all. You know, the last rounding out the last is Binion. I don't know how to say this guy's name. Lucas B.
Bajerigard, I would say.
I like him, but I don't know. You know, he's caught my eye. Yeah, he has. Putnam, Griot, Siwoo, Ches, Furyk, Mitchell, Answer, Na, Lewis, Knox, Wise, Westwood, Kadira, and Luke Liz. These 16 intrigue me because there's a lot of really good possibilities there. And so we'll try to have as many of them as I can, you know, as far as the building goes, especially because they're all super cheap. Obviously, we'll have to figure out some. I will note the 6 alternates in case someone withdraws today or tomorrow, or maybe even Tuesday, is the first one's Luton, then Hadwin, then Palmer, then Ortega, then Amari here. I don't know how to say that name. Never heard it.
Imahira.
And then Sungjae. Don't know if all 6 are going to go on site. I'd imagine like Ryan Palmer would. I think he's playing Valero. Sungjae, I think, is playing Valero. So some of these guys, and if I'm first alternate, I'm probably there unless he's not, you know, around. But and you know, Kevin Na is probably the one that everybody will think, is he going to withdraw again? So these guys would fill in that bottom 6. Well, I don't know, Ruvy, and that's probably a good question. Like, say Matt Wallace withdraws, do they move everybody up? So like, would Binion go and these guys would go to the bottom? Or does he fill in for Matt Wallace?
It depends on if he does it before or after the draw, is what I understand.
Okay.
If he does it after the draw, he would just go into Matt Wallace's spot in there. So Loughton, if Loughton comes in, he would go to Matt Wallace's in the third pot.
Yep. Okay, so that makes sense. So we'll know by tomorrow night's show where everybody sits as far as current standings. But, you know, if no one withdraws, that's your bottom 16. I like tons of Binion. Griot's game, obviously Siwoo's a Pete Dye specialist. Furyk couldn't probably have a hotter guy form-wise, maybe Rory. DJ by the end of the day, possibly. But for the price, he's definitely will be, you know, I imagine chalky. I don't know his match play history, but he's a guy, obviously. Keith Mitchell, fiery guy, loves Bermuda, obviously, playing, you know, as best as he has in his career. I'm a big Keith fan, have been for a while, so, you know, I like him. I love Answer. Knox played well this weekend besides Friday. We'll see how he finishes up today, but really hit the ball well, you know, really well yesterday. And his ball striking was on point Thursday and Saturday. A little something happened Friday, don't know. But then Luke List, again, you know, this kind of format, kind of like a Bradley is where I put him, that he can, you know, definitely keep it in play. Putting, you know, strategic putting and match play may help him as opposed to just stroke, you know, a traditional tournament. So really most all these guys I could fit in somewhere depending on how the draws go.
Yeah, I love Siwoo Kim this week. He was in a really hard bracket last year, and he won it. So, Siwoo just plays well here. I'm going to be all over him. I like Binion because his price is almost min price. Like that's you don't get that very often for a player like him. And
and he's a great. So I watched him at the USAM at Southern Hills in Tulsa. I followed him right behind him. They don't have ropes and that kind of stuff. So it was really neat to. I mean, I was 5 yards behind him the whole day watching him hit the ball, and that's kind of. I'm not as much in love with him as our boy Phil, but
No.
I thought I was until I met Phil. But I love Binion and have followed him. So that was 08, I believe, 09 at Southern Hills, and he won the match for So obviously, those guys that have that mentality, I think he can do well. And unless he just gets a crap draw, I plan on having a bunch of them at 6,300.
Yep. Question for you: are you going to target guys that are in Kevin Na's in his group?
I mean, off the gut, absolutely.
Right. It would be smart because of all those bonus points if he withdraws.
Yeah. I mean, I won't, put my live and die on it, but if it's something I already like, then sure. Cause I don't know where his game is anyways, being as many times as he's kind of bounced out of tournaments, not great form. So even if he winds up playing, I think the guys against him could be good, a good choice anyways. And if he happens to withdraw, take his check and move on to the Valera, then there's a bunch of free points for you. So certainly, and you obviously can't take all the 3 guys because you'll be drawing dead, but we'll certainly probably try to find the one I think comes out of there and be a little heavy on him for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. Is there any thinking to doing that with other guys and that have a tendency to withdraw or have withdrawn recently? I'll bring up Jason Day just for one. But Jason Day has a great history at match play. So what do you think?
I mean, it's tough. I'm not going to right here as I sit tonight. I would say today, I don't think I would make lineup building decisions based around that. If it was a tiebreaker deal and I kind of go, well, if this happens, they played fine this week. He missed the cut by 1. I really don't think he
had a bad Thursday.
Yeah, and I don't think he's in the Valera field. So this is his last competitive before the Masters. So now, just because he's done it many times, and there's a legit injury there, right? And so we definitely potential to withdraw. I assume he'll do it before the tournament, but not necessarily before the bracket's drawn, right? So I would think if we don't hear nothing by tonight or tomorrow, and then they do the brackets at I think 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Central Time tomorrow. He'll probably do a practice round. And maybe that's what he'll test it. And then by Tuesday he may withdraw and then we'll know what we do there. But overall thinking, no, I'll be more focused on, obviously tonight, last night I kind of got the day ahead of pulling last year's stats. I pulled my program that I built to do it. Once I found it, I thought I lost it, but I did find it. And then tonight I'll start focusing on, I built a system last year to kind of pull in match play results, notes on U.S. amateur type background, Ryder Cup, President's Cup. Not that that's going to be an end all be all, but I like to kind of see who's popping in that. I'll do a simplified version of the model, real basic, focusing on a few things that signify, scores and, birdie or better will probably pop in there, which is stuff I normally don't focus on. But, the course sets up for so many guys that I really just want to profile who's the form will play bigger than it has. Course history will be a little bit, especially now that this is 4th year at this Austin Country Club. So I want to see who's played it well and who's playing for the first time. But I will pull in the other tournament match play histories just to see guys in match play in general, how they play. And that's kind of how I'll start and build a pool of where I think guys who I like no matter what, kind of like we just talked about. And then after the brackets come out, like I said, I'll build a few brackets, just not looking at anything but who I, based on my rankings, who I think can advance. And from that, then I back into, all right, and I'll probably target the same 38 to 40 guys and build from there. And it's a quick process because we got, 48 hours to turn it all around, but it's a fun one. A lot of thinking goes involved, but I'm looking forward to it. And I think so far in the Slack, a lot of guys are very intrigued by this format. A lot of them didn't know it. So overall, I'm excited for the process.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to get into many bets unless you wanted to talk about something that you think might happen. Because we don't have any odds out. The only one that I would think that I'd be interested in right now personally would be if Siwoo Kim is up near triple digits.
Yeah, I mean, the top guys are going to be, I imagine not great at all. I'll be interested to see where Tiger's odds come compared to his DK pricing. I highly doubt he's going to be the 12th best odds. I imagine he'll be the 6th or 7th. If I get 20-1 or more on Tiger, I'll take it. We'll see where that pops up. Some guys that, depending on the odds that I like just off the top, would be, Cantley, I think, could make a run in a format like this. Kuchar can make a run in a format like this. They could have some better odds. Keegan even, might have some decent enough. But betting-wise, the guys I think, as we mentioned earlier, these elites kind of rise to the top. So this could be a week where I take 2 or 3 guys up top and just leave it alone. So if they make it, they make it. But last year I targeted around that 30 to 60 range, and that's where Bubba fell and some of those guys. So that's probably where I'll be around, because I'm not going to go up top necessarily with DJ or Rory, unless I can pair him up with someone in the other tournaments, either overseas or I think the Punta Kansas this week also as a opposite field event. So, some of these guys that we talked about that could be coming out of nowhere, like a Matt Wallace, Kisner, if he's way down based on where he's at in the prize, he may come back and be 80-1 or something, 60-1. Same with Keith Mitchell. You're going to give me him 80 to 100-1. I'll take a ride on that. So those kind of guys kind of pop to me.
Yep. The only other one, Poulter, would be an interesting one because he has won it before, depending on where he comes in.
I did definitely Poulter.
Well, how are you looking at one and done? Like, what are you going to do differently this week on one and done? We don't have to make our picks today. We can give some guys that we might potentially target, but I think that I'm going to try to look for guys that can make the final 8, I guess, and go same thing with DraftKings and hopefully get lucky from there.
And we'll go ahead and wrap this up. I wanted to keep it short, but definitely going to do one and done tomorrow night. But just to that note, if you confuse or don't, yes, the one and done is this week. It's only for the WGC. It's not for the opposite field event. There is payouts for 1 through 64. So whatever your guy gets, he'll get. Then nothing's changed. We've had a few questions come in where I think people thought, how's it work out? It's still a payout by the tour. So, and I don't know if you can go look it up. We can look for last year and we'll have it for tomorrow night. If guys, I assume it'll be paid upon what round they go out in. And so a lot of the guys will be tied. JB's saying yes. So that's how that works. And then, this is a bigger pot, right? Being a WGC. So I definitely will look up and just with the history, I've saved Tiger. This is the week I'm going to have to decide who I think I'll probably go with at the Masters, because I have Tiger, but if I'm going to use him at the Masters, I'll go elsewhere. If I think this is a better shot, then I'll take him here. And I'll be up top as much as I can. So like a Rory, a DJ, a Rahm I haven't used. I probably will take maybe a Rahm, even like a Fleetwood. Jason Day, Tiger. Out of those first top 30 is probably where I'll land on most of mine. It's a bigger payday, so I'm not going to shy away from using a big guy.
Yep, I was thinking I haven't used Rahm, but I did say he's winning the Masters, so I've got to decide there.
I really think it's wise to, at this point, if you're in a heater for the second segment or overall, to with these big tournaments, this segment is at least pencil in where you're going to use some of the big guys, so you can strategize from there. You got this, you got the Masters, you got the PGA Championship, I believe, is in this segment. So there's 3 big money tournaments to kind of think about. And we'll have
the Players. Yeah, the Players was in it.
The Players was in it already. Yeah. So, we'll have Bucks is going to send me his picks. The Smash Squad deal this week will be a little different. We'll list out our Elite 8, Final 4, Championship, and Champion. And we'll get the DK points for where those Elite 8 get, as far as that kind of goes for our tournament this week on the Smash Squad. A lot of people like that more than I thought they would, but it's been pretty fun to grade out and watch how that goes. But this week, being the way the tournament is, we'll do it that way. Other than that, make sure you get into the bracket challenge this week. I'll repost the Twitter handle. Special thank you to the guys that have already committed to help us out with some prizes there. Daily Roto, Drewby, great offer. Fanshare Sports, Fantasy National, Amp Caddy. One of the prizes, we'll throw an Amp Caddy in there. Look forward to all that. We'll have all that listed out tomorrow. We'll see how many's in it. Probably pick top 3 prizes. It's free to enter, so share the link. There's a password. It'll all be on the post on Twitter. We'll put it in the Slack as well for the members. I'll send out the email tonight of our schedule. But for sure, Buck's article will come out later. I'll put together a summary article that kind of lists some of the key things from this tonight, as well as, initial thoughts. And then everything will roll out tomorrow night once we have the brackets and stuff. And we'll do another show with Tambo for sure. And then maybe Fantasy ADHD will join us and we'll have a little 4-man panel.
And the only other thing I want to remind people of, the E9 this week will be on Tuesday night because the tournament starts on Wednesday. So E9 Tuesday night, 9 Eastern instead of Wednesday night because of the tournament. So for all members out there, it's pretty awesome. We get a lot of people in there. It's pretty great.
Yep. It'll be fun. We'll be live there. So if you're going, shoot us a DM, a message. Love to hang out, have a drink. Be there Wednesday, Thursday for sure. I may go back on the weekend depending on how it's looking, but I'm for sure going to be there Wednesday and Thursday.
That's all I have. I hope everybody joins us tomorrow night at about 9:30 Eastern. We'll be going live again, YouTube, Periscope, and we will also post all the pods on all the regular places. Please rate and review and like those YouTube pages.
Yeah, just if you don't know, this will be a pod. JB's got a couple things to handle, but I'll post this, in a couple hours to the pod. So if you're subscribed, you can catch up and watch it, listen to it all later. Thank you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
SmashFactor.